And we are live. Welcome everyone to this week's special episode of Bardic Inspiration, Dungeons and Dragons in Shakespearean style. The Headless Marys were on last week with us, and this week we would normally have the Magical Cane Band, but they are on a bit of a break. And in the meanwhile, we are offering you a special Monstrous one-shot adventure, which we have chosen to entitle Triple Double. Because all three of our players today, Ryan, Meg, and Elizabeth, are not playing usual player characters, but rather doppelgängers, shape-shifting monsters who can take on the faces and aspects of other creatures, and they are going to get up to some super spy business. Now, allow me, please, to set the scene for you. Our scene today happens in the nation of Esten, where much of our campaign has taken place before. However, it is some way away from the action of our previous campaigns. It's time for us to drop into our prologue for tonight's session. 3 nights ago, you found the witch's lair. His name was Oscar, clothed in trappings fine, and at his side a ruby raven stared, its plumage and its eyes like ancient wine. To Donvale's manor house he bade you go, and change your shapes to hide in plainest sight. To listen, lie, and steal is what you know. On Donvale's secret thoughts you'll cast your light. You have your dossier on Donvale's court, and to each specific mission to complete. Letters, secrets, longings to report. Unlock the Thane and the safe within her suite. Such rich reward for all thy toil and trouble. Thy missions, like thy faces, triple double. Now, we lay our scene in the year 1580 of the Common Era. It is the first of Barndale, and the autumn harvest is approaching. The stewards of the clan of Donvale have converged upon Donvale House, where Elle, the Thane of Donvale, holds her court. And the stewards each oversee their local affairs of their regions, and they have gathered there to provide reports on the harvest yield and other trade. And Donvale House has been cleaned immaculately for the occasion, and all the finest suites have been prepared for occupation. But you three do not belong there. You are there in secret, under false disguises. So, having been commissioned to be there, you have had some lead time up until this day, the day of the autumn feast, when you are going to complete the mission that has been assigned to you by the witch, Oscar. You have those mission objectives laying out ahead of you. We will discuss those in just a moment. They include stealing the contents of a hidden safe, learning some very private information about the Thane of Donvale, as well as removing a lock of hair from 3 very important people, including the Thane herself. The reward for this is richly promised, and you are rewarded in proportion to what you accomplish, assuming you accomplish these things and return successfully. So, before we get to the actual event itself, the Autumn Feast, where you're going to be executing your plan, I'd love to know a little bit more about our 3 doppelganger creatures. You seasoned veterans of intrigue and mastermindery. You've had a little bit of lead time up until this point, where you get to work your way into the fabric of Donvale Manor and of the house. If you have 1 week, let's say, a 10-day in this world's calendar, that's 10 days, to integrate yourself into the manor, the days and weeks and its daily operations. I would love to know how each of your characters would do that. But before we do that, let's introduce our 3 characters. You can obviously, describing a doppelganger is a bit of a fraught prospect, but you can tell us a little bit about who they are and what their role is, what they like to do. So why don't we start, please, with Pierce Bronzehands. Ryan, tell us about Pierce.
Yeah, Pierce Bronzehands is a thief. He likes to steal things. He also likes to gamble a bit. And so that's kind of like he uses his ill-gotten gains to gamble. He likes to go to like high-rolling kind of casinos and kind of cheat people out of money wherever he can, and he gets a thrill out of that sort of thing.
Nice, thank you, Ryan. Moving over to Elizabeth, why don't we learn a little bit about Daniel Craigslist?
So Daniel Craigslist, he steals your stuff and he sells it on the black market. He gets his way and he will infiltrate by taking the form of a really attractive person and sort of flirting with everyone he meets. He's kind of like a Dorian Gray type character. He's really like self-obsessed with his own image, which he's always changing. So it's like not like it's really an achievement. He just enjoys the thrill of convincing and manipulating people and then taking their stuff. That's nice. It for him.
All right, that's Daniel. And then last but certainly not least, Meg, tell us a little bit about Sean Conartistry. I knew I was going to flub it.
So Sean Conartistry is a bit more of an observer. He's likes to think of himself as a bit more sort of intelligent, and he watches what's going on and steals all your secrets when you don't realize that he's paying. You don't think he's paying as much attention as he is. He's also a bit of a nerd about having very fine penmanship, and is a big fan of copying other people's penmanship. So for forgery, basically.
The forger.
Right. Yeah, he's a scribe.
Cool. All right. Well, that is our motley band. For those watching who might be less familiar with D&D, this is a bit different than normal games. Normally you have player lineages and classes, like jobs that you do. But our three players today are playing monster characters. So these monsters, quote unquote, are called Doppelgängers, and they have several very special abilities, which we're going to see them use, including the ability to change their shape. So let's talk for a little bit in the first stage of our heist super spy adventure today. What do you think in the 10 days leading up to this very important mission your three characters will be getting up to in order to plan their big event?
So we do have like 3 objectives that we need to kind of succeed in. One of what just simply stealing the entire contents of a safe. The second one is learning some info from Lady Elle, and the third one is getting a bunch of locks of hair from a number of different people. So I guess in terms of how we ingratiate ourselves, are we looking at replacing people that are already part of this world? Are we handsome strangers that waltz in and take everyone by storm? Because obviously that's going to change how we go into it.
Mm-hmm.
Because we might need to kidnap someone.
Yeah.
Or 3.
I think Sean probably would have wanted to somehow ingratiate himself with the stewards, with the office people, like the scribes of the estate, so that he could get access to the paperwork desks, and stewards can kind of just walk wherever people don't really notice them going down a corridor.
Yeah, so just as this pedantic on my part from a world building perspective, so you have stewards who sort of oversee operations of these houses in the regions and oversee local municipal governments, kind of, and then you have, it sounds to me like you're describing scribes, or like people who keep records, and they would be working for the stewards for sure. So okay, great, makes sense. So you're thinking Sean would want to impersonate one of these scribe people or take over for that person. And
he for sure would have turned up to his job application with forged, of course, very high letters of recommendation.
Oh, okay, so you're playing the new hire angle. Okay.
Unless there's a scribe that we think, let's hit that guy on the head, and I'll just.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? if we're less likely to be suspicious to anyone that from the outside if we're a person that's always been there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I guess, the thing about being able to be anyone.
Yeah, so I think we'd watch for a bit and then I'd choose the most beige one that people aren't going to notice. Like everyone ignores him. They're sort of the chief photocopier of the office and replace that guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Guy.
I think my character would do the complete opposite. He's gonna go in there the most loud, like flamboyant, like wants all the attention on him. He's gonna go in as like the fashion. He's gonna want to design the dress for Lady Elle and be like in with all the like the hair and makeup and all those type of people who tend to her.
No, that'd be good.
Yeah, and I don't think I'm gonna kidnap anyone. I think I'm gonna take the new hire approach where, I've got my, I'm just impersonating basically a really good fashion designer, and I've got my fake references if that's what you need in this world.
Yeah. You have a forger in your party, right?
Yeah.
So handy.
Yeah.
Okay, is this a persona you think Daniel's adopted before?
I think he has done something similar before, but he's never done it with such stakes in a manner like this.
Okay, yeah. So then you'll be impersonating a real famous designer, and I'll leave you some creative freedom there in how you characterize that person. They'll exist. Okay, and then did we talk about? Let's see. We got sort of Sean's angle for infiltrating. Got Daniel's angle for doing the same. What about Pierce?
I think I would like to impersonate a member of the security team, possibly a guard. So I'll be following guards around, and I guess I'm going to try and knock one on the head.
Okay, so the way we'll play through each of these things is that you've chosen an angle. What I want for you to do now is I'm gonna have each of you make a sequence of rolls to sort of determine how you go for this. You are doppelgängers. This is what you do. But based on how you roll, you'll get access to some new information, and it might determine what you have available to you later in the game as a result of your preparation, right? Okay, so then this will look funny on the outcome of our dice roller here, but I've decided it's the most easy way to do it. I'm gonna have each of you roll 3 d20s. Based on how you go, with a number of like successes versus failures out of those 3, I will give you a certain amount of information based on your angle that you're taking. So who's gonna go first?
3 at once or 3 individually?
I'll say 3 at once.
Yes.
It's going to show a crazy high total on the calculator thing there, but don't worry about that. I'm just looking at the 3 numbers.
Craigslist will go first.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Roll your 3. This is to become the hairdresser, makeup artist persona.
Yeah.
I
hope we needed low. Do I have advantage?
Well, in a way, this was like
triple advantage.
Yeah, well, it wasn't advantage so much as like this reflects over time how things are going for you. So the outcome of this, Daniel Craigslist, is that you have a bit of a difficult time with this, and it doesn't mean that you fail. It means that you don't get as much personal time as you would like to have had in access to key people. Obviously your impersonation is flawless, and your documents are legit. However, what this reflects is that when you arrive about a week or 10 days in advance and offer your services, you find yourself having to go through some hoops and jump through some hurdles, and you keep getting access denied to you. You're at first flat out denied. You're able to sort of charm your way out of firm denial, but one of the one of the servants of the household who sort of handles these things is rebuffing you quite frequently, keeps putting you off, scheduling a meeting. Her ladyship is busy, etc., right? Don't you know, there are more critical things to be discussed. We shall see you anon, and anon just keeps anoning until finally you are permitted to get some access. But as a result, you are running very low on information. What you do learn, however, is that the immediate environs are hectic inside the house. You are given access to the quarters of Lady Elle, her sort of outer quarters where her ladies in waiting and things like that are happening. It's chaos. There seems to be no one with a firm hand in charge of things. Lady Elle herself is very busy with other things and only comes in on occasion, and everyone just swarms to her with all of their things at once, and she has to like tap out. You gather that it's a bit of a madhouse. You can also gather, even just from that brief amount of time, that Lady Elle seems very preoccupied. She seems intensely worked up and often distracted while she is in the room. She's delegating things as often as she can and then getting out of there. And also seems to be resistant to one-on-one conversations, sort of like acknowledges your presence when you're introduced and things like that, and then sort of moves on to other things, calls people in, talks to them. She also seems a little bit cagey in terms of details she discusses with people, although she does seem to have some conversations with her head steward, who you do see, who you'll recognize from your dossier. The steward of Haleford, Maximilian, who is a tiefling man who will occasionally come to visit and will occasionally have an audience with Lady Elle in relative privacy while there's only her and her servants around. He only visits once or twice. They seem to talk about very officious, normal stuff, and is gone. Someone who is often there, very often there, however, is Brutus, the elven man who is captain of the guard. He is hardly ever far from Lady Elle. He is either in the antechamber nearby. If he doesn't have eyes on her, he is within earshot pretty much at all times, and escorts her everywhere that she goes.
Okay.
So you're able to get at least that much in sort of the few days of access that you have. Otherwise, it's a pretty frustrating adventure leading up to those moments. Okay, who's going next for their pre-planned pre-rolls? See how your infiltrations go.
I can go next.
All right. Let's see how Sean goes. That's a natural 20 and a 2 and a 5. Fortunately for Sean, and the way that these kind of skill challenges work, a natural 20 is worth 2 successes. So you've effectively had a good roll when otherwise it was a little bit tough. Okay, Sean, your angle was to become a kind of beige scrivener of sorts, right? To sort of just get in under the wire. You managed to find the most beige, the most vanilla, the most unassuming gray swatch of a human being, and human he is. He is named Colin, and he is almost always forgotten. There is this thing where like people sit down to meetings and they have discussions and then they all leave, and the second to last person out closes the door behind them, and Colin like walks. It's like, oh. So whenever you like are scoping them out, you can find their kind of power dynamics. There's the officious smaller man who sort of leads a lot of their meetings and debriefs. There's a couple of people who are kind of loudmouths, some people who are more quiet and pliant, and then there's Colin. And like even the quiet and pliant ones of the scriveners basically have no time for Colin. Colin is an easy mark. You make quick work of basically getting him out of the way. Now it's up to you whether Sean chooses to do that through violence or through some other means that Sean is familiar with doing. What do you reckon that he would do to make sure that this person has disappeared for a while?
I don't know. Like we don't have the means to boost him off this plane, do we? No.
That would be pretty high power stuff. Yeah.
Stick him in the bag of holding. No, I think we're probably.
You could forge a letter from his mom and say, like, I'm really sick. I need you to come home.
I think I probably. Yeah, we've got nowhere to put him if we knock him out and tie him up anywhere, so we have to get him to leave.
We just throw him in the river.
Like
We are monsters.
we can cap him. Yeah.
You
Colin.
can do it with murder. It's up to you. However you
I
want to
don't
do
want
this.
to kill Colin.
I feel like Colin would absolutely fall for your mum needs you have to go home.
Yeah.
Yeah, but say she's like
fired. Letter from the Don Vales.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You I reckon can pull that off based on your execution of this. Colin is very much worried and packs up his things to go. It's hard to tell if anyone much notices when he attempts to lodge his notice of departure. And when you turn up as Colin, nobody really bats an eye. Somebody sort of like looks at you twice and is like, right, whatever, that guy.
I definitely briefly looked like one of the other scriveners and took Colin's request to quit from him. He didn't get it to anyone else.
That's that nat 20. That's how that works.
Mhm.
We love it. Okay, so Sean, as a result of your infiltration, you get a fair amount of time, which means that as you settle into Colin's way of being and the Donvale house, you start to get a feel for the schedule of things, because part of your position as a scrivener is to help set the shifts for things like guards, to oversee things like the reports of yields from crops, and you quickly get a feel for the fact that Colin seems to get the worst assignments, generally, the really kind of intricate, thankless ones, record of payments for repairs to the privy, like small transactions, locating records in nearby villages that are difficult and things like this. So you do run into some frustrations insofar as on occasion you have to be away from the manor to go accomplish some of these menial duties. However, you're a bit more proficient at this sort of thing than Colin himself seems to have been. So you managed to buy yourself some time. You will now have access moving forward to good times for blind spots and guard coverage, as well as the personnel info on certain people who are in the employ of the Thane. So if at some point during your execution you decide you want to know something about one of the people working there, I will give you access to that basic information. Okay, Pierce, Bronzehands. It's time for us to execute your angle. You are becoming a guardsman or a guard of some kind. Ooh, look at these struggles in paradise.
Yeah,
okay.
I think Matt's dice roll is broken.
Yeah, it's a great time to shout out Matt Day, the creator of Rollcast, which we've been using to play our games, our Technomancer. That's how you're getting to see our rolls on screen like that. Bit of a tough go for you as well, Pierce. Only Sean seems to get an early entry into the manor grounds. You are able to do so. However, you seem to be subjected to a couple of hurdles. And remind me, were you planning on impersonating one of the existing guards, or are you also going for a new hire approach?
No, I was going to be, I'm looking for someone to, impersonate.
Okay, so you run into a couple of challenges. For one, it seems like the captain of the guard, who we mentioned before, Brutus, has a very disciplined set of ranks working for him. And one of the things that they seem to be very good about is the buddy system. They are hardly ever alone, even when they're on patrols and on shifts and things like that. Like it's one of those things where it's a bit impressive after a while of watching all these shifts, the way that they have this on a dime efficiency, turning up exactly when they're called for, going accompanied together back to their barracks, changing shifts. Even in the barracks, for a while, you hardly ever see anyone in there alone. And as a result, you come upon a good candidate. and you realize that your best point of access probably gonna be in the privy. It's one of the very few places where you can actually find somebody truly alone. It's one of the few places that given the opportunity to be alone. So what's Pierce's angle for actually disappearing this person? We saw some subterfuge for Colin. What's Pierce gonna do?
The privies like drop? Like, are they like, would they fit a person? Like,
Yes.
drop loose?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, they absolutely would, and it takes some time before they need to be cleaned out as well. So you'd have a while.
Yeah, I'm gonna kill someone then, I guess.
Yep. So, Pierce, as a doppelganger, you are an ambusher. You do extra damage when you get the first strike. How does Pierce set up this ambush in the privy?
Oh, that's a good question, isn't it? Like,
There's only one way.
I reckon what he's gonna do, he's gonna be like a.
We just all have
He's
the
gonna
same
hide.
thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know whether we did, but I'm not gonna be inside the toilet.
that was the same thought I was referring to.
Yeah.
Go, please tell me your alternative.
Instead, what I'm going to do, and it's ridiculous, I'm going to take the form of a baby.
Yeah, do it.
I'm sorry, I should not have taken a full gulp of water at the start of that
Yeah.
sentence. Oh, wow.
A baby, and as he comes in, I'm actually going to transform into a big, like a barbarian-sized person, and kind of get the drop on him that way.
Okay.
When he's like leaning over me, I'm just gonna go whoop, straight up.
Oh my god.
That is 100% going to get you surprise on that attack, which is the condition required for you to get your ambusher. Good lord. Okay, do you have your stats?
So maybe what I'll do is like I'll be hiding behind the door
As
the baby. Yeah, hope he doesn't open the door too hard. And if he does, I've got the same amount of hit points.
Yeah.
Regardless of my shape, yeah?
It's funny, so it doesn't say that you're restricted in your size to what you change in, does it?
No, it just says
small,
like...
medium to small humanoid.
Okay, so
It's still a humanoid.
Yeah, but small is a size, so a halfling is small.
What about like a big baby? You look like a newborn, like you're the size of a
3 foot
toddler.
tall baby.
Tiny Tim child.
This is so horrifying.
I suppose what I'll do then is I'll transform into a halfling. Is that possible?
Yeah, absolutely. You can become a small
I'll
humanoid.
transform into a halfling, hide behind the door, and then as he's at the toilet, I'll transform. Hopefully he's doing number 1, but if he's doing number 2, it's going to be awkward either way.
Look, this is all coming down to your speed and decisiveness, I guess.
Yeah.
Pierce Bronzehands.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Now we know the origin.
Yeah. In retrospect, anyway. Okay, so Pierce, your small size as a halfling does allow you to hide more effectively, so that will be useful in this situation. You're going to have advantage on this attack, absolutely. So you're going to get the drop on old mate. Make an attack roll with advantage. You can add your modifier if you like, or you can just roll 2 dice and add it to the higher one after the fact in our roller here.
The modifier is...
It should say it under the slam attack, but you can... What weapon do you think you'd be
Oh,
using?
yeah. So +6.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll just roll and... Oh, come on.
Yes.
Come on.
Great.
Yeah, look,
Okay.
it's gonna be a 20 to hit, and a 20 is definitely gonna hit. You've 100% landed it, so now you can roll your damage, which is unless you've added a different weapon. What weapon are you wielding?
What have we got for weapons?
You could have
Just
a
a
rapier,
slam
for example,
attack.
or a short sword, or you can use your actual doppelganger form to do the deed. But it's up to you. You said you were turning into a big old human, which you're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome to do as well.
Yeah. So given that, I'll go a rapier then. What's that?
Sure.
Plus
So
7?
you can roll a d8 plus 4 plus 3d6.
D8 plus 4.
And then 3d6 as well.
Come on, kill this dude. Who does number 2 work for?
Oh no. But actually though.
Ah, yes.
20 points of damage. Good lord. You have a second attack, but you don't need it.
Yeah.
How does
Good.
Pierce do this?
It's gonna like basically come up behind him, pick the weakest point for my rapier to slide in, and go, "What? What's wrong with that?" Okay, and then basically just fold him up and push him down, and then transform.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, and you've got access to his garb and all that stuff as well. So you are now this guard. Hey,
do I know his name?
Yeah, you've been watching him for a while now. What was this guard's name? You can make it up if you like. Otherwise, I'm happy to tell you.
His name was Bjorn.
Bjorn, a noble warrior, steadfast and true. He met his end one fateful day, lying vivisected in poo. Rest in peace, Bjorn. That is you now. Pierce, you are Bjorn the guard. You've been watching, so you have some idea, especially because of the frustrations for how long this took of the patterns of Bjorn's habits. So you know roughly when you need to be moving places.
I would have also kind of considered who my buddy was going to be. Is it always the same buddy?
Yep, you seem to often be with the same buddy, who is.
I would have picked someone who was a bit hapless, like or a bit of a silly.
Yeah. So Bjorn is kind of like the Colin of the guards. Poor mate. But Bjorn's buddy. Slovan is a dwarven woman who seems to have it a little bit more together. Is that what you meant by the hapless person? Sorry, do you mean
the opposite? The opposite.
I got you. Well done. Let's revise my prior statement. Inverted. So Slovan, the dwarven woman, is a little bit hopeless. Slovan. Yeah. So a bit confused when you come out of the toilet after so long. Bjorn, thou hast taken so long in there. I would say you. I thought I had something for this. You took a long time in there.
When you need to address the fiber intake and the mess, you end up with quite a lengthy stay, if you know what I'm saying.
Always going on about your fiber intake, fiber this, fiber that. Bjorn the fiber cat. That's what I had. That's what it was. Fiber cat. Like
okay, Slovan. Let's go. Let's go, Slovan.
All right. All three of you have found your roles inside of Dawnvale House. As a result, let's see, Bjorn, you will go on patrols for the remainder of your time before the feast, and you learn that the activities around are vamping up as people begin to arrive. Some of the stewards are arriving earlier than others because they're closer in distance, and as they are arriving, the guards are there are more shifts added to the schedule, more guards recruited locally. Some of the guards seem to have kind of disdain for the new recruits, like gabs, basically, or like fill-ins, so we don't tend to pay them much mind. It's one of the relatively few times Bjorn seems to have something like status, because even compared to all them, he's at least got that. You'll also on occasion get assigned to a detail of one of these stewards and their families. So which means as part of your rotations, you'll be put in front of their doors while they're sleeping. When you have a night shift, you might be invited to escort them from a distance to places when they're moving about the place. If any of them need to run errands or send people for things into town, to Haleford, which is not too far away, on occasion you might be asked to accompany their convoy to make sure that they are safe on the road there and back. Or you might just ride out to meet groups and come back in. And so as a result, you will get to sort of have an opportunity to size up some of these stewards as they're coming in and get some at least insight into their habits, their kind of ways of speaking, how they treat people, and can sort of mark them, as it were, as people that you'll know and have heard many times before. And the same is true for all three of you in your respective spheres where you're operating. You'll get a chance to listen to these people, to see them, to kind of more or less capture them for future impersonation, should you wish to do so. All right, I think that's going to wrap up the first sort of segment of your plan, which means it is now time for us to move on to stage 2, which is, of course, the actual autumn feast. The night approaches, and the latest of the guests begin to arrive that morning. Some of the grandest carriages of all that you have seen begin to arrive at this point, which include, surprisingly enough, some visitors who are not from Clan Donvale. There are, in fact, a number of people with different crests. There is apparently a representative from Aberforth, the neighboring clanship, and even very lately arriving, perhaps because of the distance, a carriage from House Heatherton, the house to the north, where we will find Orst, the capital of Esten. And you can recognize the Heatherton Rose, very, very prominently displayed, as well as the Aberforth Sea Dragon, which is a kind of undulating, worm-like creature that sort of is breaking the crest of a wave line on its central blue background. The feast is being prepared. Servants are bustling back and forth, and as folks are socializing, sometimes they are taking tea out on the patio outside. They'll have wine, and there are groups of stewards congregating together, having conversations. You can see that within them there are clear sort of hierarchies and cliques. And it seems like the people who are from the north sort of stick together within the Thaindom, and that people who are from the Haleford area in the south seem to have more camaraderie. And there are a couple of people who seem to have really genuine friendships and happy to see each other. And a lot of that energy where people are kind of like smiles but not reaching the eyes. It's a dinner party full of fancy people. That's the situation. So it is the night. The three of you have had your chances to be in and around your various spheres of influence, as it were. And you've also, on occasion, had times to share the information that you've been learning with each other. It will be a bit more complicated for you to chat with each other sometimes during these situations. You can come up with ways to do so if you like. Daniel, Craigslist. Mm-hmm. You are finally in the moment where you have the most exposure to Elle that you're probably ever going to get, and that is doing her hair and makeup on the night of the autumn feast itself. Mm-hmm. Elle is, as usual, preoccupied. She is sitting on the very edge of her seat in her rooms and being attended to, and people have been bringing her light refreshments to eat. You've learned over the course of the last couple of days that when there are public audiences to be had, she actually rarely really eats at them. She's usually using that time to speak with people and have people come to speak to her. There's a plate of food in front of her, but she's only ever eating token amounts. She's apparently very partial to sweets. and she has some fruits as well as some sweetmeats in front of her. What is Daniel doing? How does Daniel sort of set his space, or as this persona? Tell us about this persona, what they look like, and what they're doing.
Okay, so this fashion / designer guru, his name is Louis Crouton, and he's wearing like these red velvet robes with like white lace around the wrists and white lace around the neck, and he's got like a big purple belt. It's kind of like a dressing gown belt tied in a bow.
Mm-hmm.
And he's kind of just like fussing around the garments and like fluffing them down and dusting it off, and he's making small talk with Elle. And so you said she's here to get her hair done, right?
Yeah, hair, makeup, any of that. She's already dressed.
Right.
What do you think? Would you have had a say on the outfit as well? Is that
Yeah. So
Louis' deal? What did you dress her in?
I have dressed her in dark green silk from the finest and rarest silkworms that you can only find underwater. So she's wearing dark green, like a bottle green silk, and she has these green emeralds kind of like tucked in to her hair, or she's about to. She has like green emerald earrings and this like big pendant around her neck that looks like a boat. It's like the shape of a boat, and then it has like green sapphires in the windows. And yeah, she's in her chair. She's like got her back to me. That's where we're at. Is Brutus in the room?
Brutus is not in the room, but Brutus is nearby. He's within earshot. If at this point, if Elle like projected a bit, Brutus would be able to hear very easily. If you whispered, he probably wouldn't be able to. But yeah,
okay, cool.
He's close.
All right. So I'm gonna try and I'm gonna do Elle's hair now as Louis Crouton.
Okay. Excellent. Elle looks fabulous, by the way. The dress, it really complements her complexion as well as her hair and eyes, which you notice as you're sort of creating this ensemble. Her hair is sort of this vibrant blonde with streaks of dark brown in it as well. And her eyes have a sort of complementary shade of amber, almost golden themselves. They're quite vivid. And so the green really sort of brings those out and pops them. And you've got the gold with the emeralds, and it's all working together. So the hair is really the cherry on top of this situation. So how does Daniel as Louis arrange her hair?
All right, so he's just kind of making some small talk with Elle, because he knows from observing that she doesn't like to talk about things that are deep. Elle, I must say, this is my most exquisite work. You are a piece of artwork right now.
Thank you very kindly, Monsieur Vuitton. I am certain that I am an inadequate canvas to your abilities, but I appreciate your efforts all the same.
Oh no, you are not an inadequate canvas. You are the most perfect, pristine, smooth canvas, made almost as if it were made of marble itself. And also it's crouton. Louis Crouton.
I'm terribly sorry. I abhorrent manners. I've been so preoccupied by the affairs of the feast. I'm terribly sorry.
You are forgiven. Madame, I have been working on this hairstyle for quite a while now, and I don't mean to offend, because I know that you are a well-kept lady, but I have noticed, how do I say this? I have noticed a a dead beetle stuck right in the back of your hair.
Oh, good heavens! What do you?
I'm afraid, madame, that it may have to be cut out.
Make a deception check.
This is so funny because you could just cut her hair.
Yeah, just cut it.
Because that's why you're there.
Just comb it and pull a bunch out.
I want to be trusted.
What's done is done.
Okay, I have advantage.
Yeah, now you need to
I have
provide
advantage on deception.
You do.
bug.
Yeah.
Yeah, make that check. Good lord.
Yeah.
A
And she has a
beetle.
disadvantage on perception.
Is this from your actor feat?
This is from my Cloak of Elven Kind.
Oh, I see. This is if she's trying to spot you. She knows where you are. You're right there.
All right,
You're not hiding.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Y'all, it has been rough this evening.
Oh, Matt, what are you doing
okay.
to us?
So what's your modifier for deception? You had advantage, so you got a 9. What's your bonus for that? If you look at your stat block, it's at least +2, and you might have a
Plus
higher
6,
one.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 9 + 6 is still a 15. So you came up better than it seemed. But Elle puts a hand to the back of her, starts to bring her hands to the back of her head and says, "Oh, good. What on earth? A beetle? A bug in my... Where?" And she's like putting her hands through her hair, trying to find it. What do you do?
Oh, madame, no, please stop touching the hairstyle. It's taken me hours to get this perfection.
Don't you have just informed me that there is a beetle, an insect? I want it gone.
I understand your frustration at having a beetle in your hair, and I am most qualified to remove it for you without causing damage to this hairstyle, and to do it in such a way that your hair is not damaged in the long term, if you would permit such an act.
Whatever you do, is it going to be visible?
No, I can assure you that it will not be visible at all.
The last thing I need is Lady Esenia saying who knows what, sowing discord as she does.
Please.
The Thane is in disarray. Oh, she can't attend to her hair. How is she going to see to the autumn numbers? Oh, should we even be paying attention? You understand?
I understand. A queen who cannot keep her court in array is not a queen fit for such. Anyway, can I take out the...
Monsieur Crouton, it is you who have misnomered me today, but flatteringly so. I am no queen. But
Thane.
your Thane thanks you.
Yes.
You may remove the beetle and the offending bug. I'll have no such resident in that abode.
Okay.
She relaxes.
I take out a little pair of silver scissors from my pocket, and I snip tiny bit of hair, and then I walk over to there's like a waste basket, and I pretend to drop the dead beetle in the...
Show me the beetle. I find it very strange that such a beast would reside in a person.
Madame, would you really ask that such a designer as myself reach into a bag of waste to pull out a desiccated, disgusting insect to show you?
Well, you pulled it from my hair. Can it be so foul as that?
Well, Madame, it wasn't foul when I pulled it from your beautiful, delicious hair, but...
Very well, very well. We have more important matters to attend to. Now, fix whatever mess it is you left behind.
Okay, I'm fixing her hair. Madame, might I just... I've heard on the grapevine that Lady Asanya, she was dressed this year by Mark Jacobs.
You don't mean that.
Oh, yes. Things are not going well for her to
Boy.
need to hire Mark Jacobs. And you have nothing to worry about what she thinks of you. Is that what you fear most? Judgment?
Read her mind.
Okay, I'm gonna. Oh yeah, I can read. I'm gonna read her mind.
I was wondering if it was coming. You wanna reach out to try to detect her thoughts?
Yeah.
Okay, you've laid some groundwork here, so you've kind of been priming her and talking about this judgment. The way that this feature works is the first time one of you has used it yet. So doppelgangers are able to read thoughts, so you can get the surface thoughts, whatever it is that Lady Elle is thinking right that moment.
Mhm.
So as you do this, for a moment, you can feel a kind of tingling at your temples, as though an extra pair of hands that you normally don't have touch the air around you. But rather than the air, they feel the sort of ripple of emotion. That is what comes for you first. A sudden heat. But not the kind of bursting, flaring heat that you know to be associated with anger. This is a persistent, insistent throb. It is fear. And then that persistent, insistent throb fizzles and drops into a cold, familiar kind of fear. Not the kind that surfaces when you hear of one thing that frightens you, but a deep, core fear. And it only comes for a moment, a quick glimmer. She says, "Oh, judgment is a bother, but in my position, it is a fact of life. As clouds beget rain, so thanes beget such pains. Forgive me."
I only hope that your heir is as thick-skinned as you, as to not worry about the judgments of others.
When you say that, Daniel, that cold fear that you felt just a taste of becomes overwhelming. Whatever it is, that what you just said just triggered a massive flare of this cold, deep, abiding fear. And you hear repeated whisper, something like something that has been repeated many times in this cold, vacant space. You can hear Elle's voice just for a moment. Protect the blood. Protect the blood. And then it pops back out of that fear space and into an irritation, a frustration, a kind of fuzziness of too many inputs. You can see, you can sense imagined images of plates spilling. You can see faces of various stewards leaning in and kind of sneering and speaking. And she seems to have let her mind drift back to the affairs of the evening. You can hear her in her mind rehearsing things that she plans to say. Greetings to Lady Asinia of the Western Front. You honor us with your presence, and blah, 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 blah. And these kind of things sort of merge into each other. And she shakes her head and says, Have you seen to the issue of my recently infested crown? And sort of reaches her hand back up to where you have been doing some work on her hair from the beetle incident.
Not as of yet, Lady Elle, but I can assure you that I will get my best anti-insect oils and treat your crown.
All right. Meanwhile, we can move on over to Sean, who has been hard at work with the Scriveners. One of your prime duties in this time, as Colin, the beige boy Scrivener, is to make sure that inventory is matching up with records, that when there are last-minute acquisitions that need to get made, that someone is taking record of that. So a quite harrying experience it is that Colin is delegated, having to run back and forth from the head chefs down below to some of the errand folk and servants who need to run to nearby suppliers and grab more of X or Y or Z or to bring back bad news that there is not any more of that kind of thing. Yeah, it's like it's chaos down below, and all of these things are emerging up as people are getting ready to sit and be seated. What do you think Sean would be doing with himself in all of this?
think he probably tried, and if it was Colin, he probably failed to get to be the person who ticks the guests off the list as they arrive, like sitting at the door. And when that failed, or if it did, he ended up running these messages back and forth, which is actually second best option to meeting all the guests, because I can literally go wherever I want and no one really cares.
Yeah, I think you're right. It would be an uphill battle for Colin to get that prime spot, because I'm sure a lot of them want the privilege of greeting these people as they come in, or seeing them, getting gossip that way and stuff like that. But you're right that once Colin gets that duty, job done, there's time. You buy some free time to move around if you like, as long as you can account for yourself. So what would you do during that free time?
So each time I go to the kitchen or somewhere, I do my errand, but then I stand there and just watch the conversation for a bit.
Okay.
No one really notices, and then I move on, watch the conversation over there for a bit, just kind of finding out where the threads are.
Yeah, okay. So you are able to read lips, so you'll be able to sort of make a quick survey. I'd like for you to make an insight check. This is like your read the room vibe check, just to see if you can kind of grab interesting tidbits and figure out whom you need to be focusing on.
What?
In fact, you can do this with advantage because you have had a little bit of time to sort of watch how things are going on that front, and because of your record keeping, you have at least an idea of the names of the big players and heavy hitters in the room.
Is this the regular insight modifier or the observant one?
So does observant affect insight? I know it affects perception.
Perception and investigation, the other two. This is just regular insight then. So 20.
Yeah, good. Double 17s was meant to be. Okay, so on
Thanks, mate. Love you, Day.
Yeah, it's back.
This works for me.
So over the course of your time, sort of timing it so that your overseers will not see you lollygagging or anything like that, you are watching as people are being brought in. And so far, Lady Elle has not made her appearance. She'll be one of the last people to come down, and will be sort of ceremonial. However, people have begun being seated, and they are seated very strategically. So you can start to get a bead on the different stewards and their families and the order that they're seated in, as well as the order within the families that people are seated in. So near the head of the table, where Lady Elle is going to be, there is a distinguished-looking human gentleman who's got jet black hair pulled back into a ponytail and rather severe, sort of hawkish features. And he is leaning over to the lady next to him, and sort of muttering out of the side of his mouth. And you get that he says to this woman, "Unsure which daughter. Two likely choices, though I know which one I would choose." You can't hear the voice, but you can, like, that is, that's it. So you get that bit before he kind of leans back and someone's head blocks his mouth. And then the lady seems to be responding, and then she turns her head partway through, and so you get the second half of her sentence. And the second half is, "Otherwise, there will certainly be trouble." And then other heads kind of move in the way of that. You also can sort of, on a different sweep through, bounce back and see that further down the table, the grand table, there's a woman, a dwarven woman, who is already, it seems, a little bit tipsy, has been going in for the good stuff, and making quite a ruckus, like clearly is kind of the center of attention down that way, and a lot of people are laughing at her stories. And she sort of, even at one point, stands up on the bench that is there. And you can see all the people around her make this sort of like, "Oh my God, crazy," but like they're not that surprised. This is like usual deal kind of thing. And you catch the end of what seems to be a story. And from her lips, you can see, "And that, of course, was of Eliva," and is like this long, drawn-out last syllable of the A. And a couple of other people nearby seem to join in, but two of them actually sing. It seems like she might have been singing, but you couldn't hear. You actually do hear notes coming from a couple of the other people who seem to be joining in. So apparently she was leading some sort of song, and you caught the last note of that. And with a 17, I would say, you would also notice...
20.
Yeah, right. A 20 of an insight. You would also notice that the presence of guards is gradually increasing in the room, and you would clock your buddy Bjorn, who has entered the scene with Slovan and the rest of their sort of regiment. And the guards are moving in a sort of predetermined fashion around, taking up posts, and then moving again, always in pairs. There are some in an upper balcony moving around. Bjorn is not one of them. Bjorn and Slovan are down on the ground level, posted up near one of the doors. Bjorn, you have come in from the outside where you were overseeing the arrangement of late arrivals from carriages to make sure that they were securely arranged at the stables and that all was well there. And then you rotated into the inside here, where finally Lady Elle is being announced. And as Lady Elle is announced, the room goes quiet. And then everyone stands respectfully, even some of the more raucous members of the group. And when she is announced, she walks in her stunning green silk bottle green dress, her sparkling emeralds, and her recently fashioned hair. Daniel, I forgot to make you do this at the time. Make what is basically a sleight of hand check. I don't know if you're proficient, but it's at least a +4 to your D20. Yeah, I don't think you're proficient. So roll a D20 and add 4. Have you rolled, Elizabeth?
Wait, are you doing to me?
Yeah. Sorry. So Daniel, as Louis, as Elizabeth, could you please roll a sleight of hand check? This is to determine how well you did on this hairstyle and what you did.
I'm so sorry. I thought you were talking to Ryan.
And that's quite all right. Okay, 11.
Oh,
so,
God.
what you see when Elle comes around the stairs is nothing short of a statement piece. It is irregular. All of her like shocks of amber golden hair with streaks of deep brown are apparently shifted over her left shoulder, and they're coming down sort of in these waves over one side, leaving this side of her head more close cropped. There are ornaments of various kinds, like brooches and stuff, to match the other emeralds woven in there, but the hair is actually kind of coming out almost funnel-like to the sides. It's narrow where it's bound and then comes out like a spray almost. And whenever she turns her head rapidly, it's like it's a lot of hair, and it is always there. She seems to be fine with this, but you, Sean, in your insight check, I think you would notice that as this is happening, some of the people in the room lean forward and seem to be kind of whispering to each other and like looking at, doing their best not to be spotted. But with your 20, you can pick them out. And so when Lady Elle sits, everyone sits, and then the sort of principal courses and drinks begin to be served, and conversation is going apace. What are the three of you doing? As none of the three of you are properly seated at this dinner or anything like that, what will you be doing to try to accomplish your objectives while this is going on?
I'm likely on my patrols, have I gained knowledge as to where the office is?
Mm-hmm. So you would know that Lady Elle's private quarters are upstairs in the eastern wing of the manor, and that her private office is adjacent to them, that there is an entrance to the private office only through her bedchamber. So it's like you'd have to get in through the bedroom and then go. It's almost like a closet, and in fact might be referred to as such at times, but yeah.
Okay.
You know that it's through there.
I mean, I'd like to, and I'm not destined to be going anywhere near there, I'm guessing.
You know from your rotations, and Sean, from your work as Scrivener, you would know these patterns as well. You know that your group is in the sort of main hall area for the principal part of the feast, and once main courses have been collected, you'll be relieved from there. You will have half an hour's furlough while there's another shift going there, and then after that half an hour, you're due for another shift outside.
Okay.
Yeah, that's your.
I reckon during my half an hour, that's when I'm hoping to, I guess, strike. I'll be losing Slovan and trying to infiltrate the office.
Okay. Let's play that out then. So when the time comes for you to shift out, you begin to move towards the outside area. There is a sort of barracks where guards take their breaks and their rest and things like that. And as you're leaving, Slovan leans over to you and says, well, I do suppose me that there are some excellent desserts to be thrown out later. I do regret it much.
Oh, Slovan, why not wait by the kitchen door for when the cook does come out to empty the desserts? You can have your mouth open and receive such sweet treats. I won't tell on you. We are good friends.
Oh, I do appreciate me this. Bjorn, you are a true friend. But dost thou think that Chef Hugo will be so accommodating as you say?
Well, I'm sure if you use your typical Slovan charms, then there'll be no way that he can resist popping an eclair in yon gob.
Oh, eclairs. I do so love eclairs. Mayhap I shall be inspired by this choice, good Bjorn. I think I shall pay good Hugo a visit. This should be the perfect time to ask. And then Slovan, at the entrance to the barracks, breaks off towards the chef kitchen, the main kitchen. So it is your time.
Great. And I guess I would have had a chat with Sean at some point about blind spots in the guard duty and all of that stuff. And be using that information. Yeah.
So you've also been a guard for some time, so you know this aspect of the schedule. Yeah. So you basically now have the chance in this half hour to make your way to that office. Oops, I think we just lost Meg. You make your way to that office and then see how much time you have left. So what I'd like for you to do then is you need to make it from where you are to the office undeterred. So it's up to you how you choose to do that. How do you think that Pierce would do so?
It's a good question. Knowing that most of the nobles will be downstairs still, I will take the form of Brutus.
Okay. Yeah.
And just kind of walk about like I know what's going on.
All right. You take the form of Brutus, the head of the Golden Guard, who is always, usually, at the side of Lady Elle. So then you're going to make a beeline straight for her chambers then?
Correct.
Okay. As you're going up the stairs of the East Wing, you encounter a familiar face. Johann, who is sort of an understeward about the estate, not a management role in any capacity, of course. A sort of wispy blonde man in his 30s with ill-fitting robes, but of good quality, of the make of the house. And he rounds the corner in a hurry, coming down the stairs, and seems to be bearing a bag of something, and sort of stops and looks and says, Captain Brutus? Oh, it's a surprise to see you hither.
I'm surprised to see you too, Johann.
Oh, well,
Where are you
I
going?
was just sent hither to fetch some extra of the fine stationery. So do you understand? There's a shortage downstairs, and it's expected that some cards are exchanged and such like. Can't believe I forgot me to stock them. But what bringeth you so far up here, away from her ladyship?
Well, I heard that there may be some trouble up here. A guard came and told me, so I've come up here to see what's going on.
Make a
You wouldn't
deception
know
check.
anything about that, Johann?
What is this, intimidation you're going for, or deception? That last bit sort of changed the tone, didn't it?
I'm going to go persuasion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess it's deception still, isn't it?
Yeah, you're lying. So.
Well, is persuasion the same as...
It depends.
Or is
If
it
you have
different?
if you have a specific skill in one or the other, it will change your modifier. But otherwise, they are both charisma based, so they're the same. Hence.
Yeah, I mean, I've got I've got proficiency in persuasion and deception. That's
Okay,
all.
so yeah, you can. This would be a deception check. You have the same modifier, so add
Okay.
whatever that is. What did you say it was like plus 7 or 8 before?
8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a liar.
So it's not advantage though, is it? Or is it? Because I'm of who I am.
It's just a plus 8 unless you have a feat. I think it's Daniel that has the
Yeah.
actor feat that gives you advantage on
Okay,
it, so
cool.
you wouldn't have advantage.
Come on, Matt.
Coming through for you here in the end. That's 23.
Yeah.
And you said you wouldn't know anything about that, would you, Johann? And Johann stops and looks horrified. It's like, trouble? I know nothing of any trouble. No, Captain. Other than the mix-up about the stationery, of course. I certainly hope there's nothing. It must be serious if you've been sent up here. Oh dear. Oh, Reaper's Eye. And then he sort of like hurries or makes to hurry off down the stairs, unless you have something else you want to say to him.
No, I'm gonna run. Once he's down the stairs, I'm gonna run. I don't have much time now.
Yeah. Okay. You are moving through those hallways. It's relatively quiet up here. It seems like a lot of the servants have moved on down. However, when you round the corner into the hallway of the actual corridor, you can see that there is a guard posted at the office door. Or not the office door, the bedroom door area, who is sort of looking straight ahead and then looks with surprise over to see you coming and kind of stands stiff and upright at attention, seeing you approach.
Let me in.
Sir, tis a strange thing. Sir, Captain, you ordered me not to let anyone in.
Are you serious?
I beg thy pardon. I did but speak with thee, and you instructed me in very severe terms to let no one through this door. No
And
one
yet,
living,
I am
dead,
the
or...
person that gave you that order. Am I not? You would think that I would just say things for the sake of hearing my own voice. Let me in now.
Yes, Captain. Yes, Captain. And then he very shamefacedly sort of opens the door and stands to his side.
I walk in.
Mm-hmm.
Close the door after me.
Yeah, you see he kind of like turns around as though to say something, and then the door closes in his face. Okay. We'll leave Pierce there for just a moment.
Okay.
And then we'll flash over to Daniel. How have you been occupying yourself while this is going on?
I went out into the garden and I caught some beetles. And I squashed them all and put them in my pocket. That's what I did in the meantime. Now I'm back inside.
Yeah, yeah. And what does Daniel or Louis the hairdresser do now that hair duties are accomplished?
Well,
or Daniel, it's up to you, I guess, what you do after that point.
The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go up to Brutus.
Actual Brutus?
Actual Brutus, real Brutus.
Okay. Yeah, Brutus is nearby in the main hall, watching Lady Elle closely, nearby some other guards.
She's absolutely divine, isn't she, Brutus?
Indeed. As ever, Our Lady is resplendent. Thanks in no small part, I am certain, to your handiwork.
Oh, you are too kind.
Not at all.
You seem very much like a man who takes pride in his appearance and a man who would love to represent the court of Lady Elle in the best way possible. And so I feel it is my duty that I must tell you, I don't know how it happened, but there's a beetle in your hair. I can get it out for you. I am the trusted hairdresser of Lady Elle.
This is so great.
So good.
Make a deception check, which I think you have advantage on.
I do.
I should have realized why you were getting all the beetles.
God damn, the dice are not in my favor.
Not today, but you have a good modifier, so sorry, that's 6 is your modifier, so 14 total, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Brutus pauses and looks at you and says, Monsieur Crouton, I'm not certain, but I believe you might be accusing me of being vainglorious. Is that the case?
I would never accuse a man of your honor to be vain. I just would not want you to represent the court of Lady Elle like a dirty man. Clean people don't have beetles in their hair. And I'm not saying that you're dirty, okay? And I don't know how.
Sounds to me like you are saying I am a dirty man.
No, I don't think you're a dirty man. But if I don't get that beetle out of your hair, everyone else is going to think you're a man, and perhaps even Lady Elle. I've heard that she is very fond of you, perhaps maybe in a way even more than is professionally appropriate. I am a romantic at heart, and I would hate for you to lose standing in Lady Elle's eyes because you have an insect in the back of your head.
Meg, you are not lying. Make a persuasion check. We'll see how this angle goes for you.
Okay.
You're not lying. You're in fact being very forthright.
I don't think I have any
Rare
modifiers.
for politics.
If you have the actor feat, I think, then this is it's the same as your deception, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, so I get advantage? Great. Yes.
Much better. Okay, so that's a dirty 20. If we do the 17 plus that's more 23, isn't it? Yeah, can do that. Quick maths. Okay, with a 23. Monsieur Crouton, whatever this ruse is about the beetle, never mind that. I wonder, though, what is it you know of Lady Elle's affections? You who seem to be so familiar so quickly.
Well, sir, I know that she blushes when you walk into a room. I can feel the heat come off her cheeks when she spots you walking by the doorway. I have even caught her talking to herself in the mirror and saying things like, "Oh, Brutus, kiss me."
Make a deception check. Again with advantage. This has beats. You have taken Old Maid on an Odyssey just now. A+ for Iago style tactics though. Double fours. Okay, so 10.
I may have misheard her with the mirror part, but the rest of it is true.
I cannot believe that the lady would be so unsubtle with her affections. I think that you try to do my heart good by filling it with such vain hopes, Monsieur Crouton. I appreciate your efforts, and I see that you see much. I, too, have seen some glimmer of what you say. And you see that he is now, like, not even looking at you. He's just staring at the back of Lady Elle's head. You really have done something charming with her hair. It's unlike anything I've ever seen.
I can give you that hairstyle too if you'd like.
I am certain that would be amusing, but I'm afraid I have certain appearances to keep up myself. Regulations, even to the smallest hair on mine head. That is how a ship runs as effectively as does Donville Manor, as I hope you have noticed in your time here. Thank you, Monsieur Crouton, for your kind ideas and your assurances to one you know so little of. I appreciate it. He turns on a heel and then strides very determinedly away from you towards the other side of the room.
Damn. I was gonna try and sleight of hand a beetle into his hair.
Okay. Make a check.
Please.
Make a sleight of hand check.
Please.
You know, you could do the same check for just cutting his hair.
But just
the dice check would be different for those two.
True.
They require very different commitments.
What is the cutting his hair? Is that a dexterity?
They're both sleight of hand, so like it's just that for cutting his hair you need a blade. Right. So
Surely he's got a blade on him at all times, Louis.
I don't think that's okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
No, that was not my implication. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, this is to put a beetle in his hair.
You are planting a beetle. Make a plant a beetle check.
Oh, that's +6. Oh, with advantage. No,
Do
I
you
don't
have
get
advantage on sleight of hands? Unless
No, I don't.
you didn't take those gloves, right?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I do.
That's a 15. 15's pretty good. Okay. Now, Daniel as Louis. You palm the beetle in a practice fashion and slip forward as he's walking away. And you manage to lean upward and actually, with a finger, tap a beetle deeply within some tightly woven curls of hair, which he keeps close cropped. He is not wearing his helmet as he is indoors, and it's considered a level of impropriety to do so. You cram it in there, however, even with a 15, that is not good enough to avoid being detected nearby. He is not going to see that you have put a beetle in his hair. However, he is going to turn around and see you very close, just behind, like lowering your hand and looking up at his head, and turns around and says, Grievous, Monsieur Crouton,
Brutus.
what would you with me? And he begins to put a hand to his hair. I believe this discussion was finished on the subject of my hair. What were you doing?
I know you don't believe me that there's a beetle in your hair. But I respect you enough to try to remove it for your sake, regardless of if you believe me or not, because I care about the representation of this court.
His eyes begin to widen as his fingers this whole time you've been speaking have been working their way through his hair. And he yanks roughly out of his curls a squished black beetle and looks at it with wonder. How did... Surely this... Thank you. What a very strange thing. And an even stranger and more impressive thing to notice. You have a keen eye, Monsieur Crouton. Have you ever considered a career in soldiering?
Perhaps. Just a question. Would you like me to get the other beetle out of your hair?
Make a deception check with advantage.
God damn it!
The dice check for this has been affected by how well you pulled this off.
Okay.
There is no way in hell he would have believed this without you actually pulling a beetle out of his hair
Yes!
this time.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
Oh.
He looks at you and says, "What on earth have I done to become such a disgraceful mess?"
Oh.
I'll get you cleaned up in no time, sir.
He suddenly becomes beet red, which is really more of a purple because of the sort of bluish tint to his skin. And he looks in, realizing suddenly that if anyone wanted to, they could turn and focus on him because he's not totally out of view of the tabled area. And he takes a kind of last look towards Lady Elle, sighs, and steps back around a column. Says,
Oh, yeah.
What you must, please, Monsieur Crouton, and quickly."
I'll have you looking your best for Lady Elle in no time, sir. And then I just go back and I pull out my little scissors and I snip a little bit off.
Snip, snip, snip.
Beetle free, sir.
He looks down and sees the beetle in your hand and says, "I cannot think me how indeed not one but two of these beasts has made its way into mine. I shall be bathed thoroughly after this occasion, I can promise you that much. Please, Monsieur Crouton, not a word of this to a soul, if you would do me a kindness."
My lips are sealed. Your secret's safe with me.
Very good. And he sort of turns, drops into his bearing and strides back around the column and goes the way that he was going before to sort of take up a new position. And he turns and not barking in order, not to make a scene, but sort of gestures towards a pair of guards that were moving, and they sort of move double time, picking up their pace, having been watching him. Okay, Sean, you have had some time to be walking around and looking, and all of this has been unfolding. You would have seen Bjorn come in and out. You also would have seen at least the tail end of this interaction in some of the preliminaries with Daniel and Brutus. What is Sean going to get up to?
Just trying to pick up as much of the conversation as he can. If he can manipulate his way so that he can pretty much always constantly check in with what Lady Elle's talking about.
Okay. So, Lady Elle is sitting very still and on occasion taking a bite of her food, but hardly ever, really. And you'll notice actually a couple of the people around her are behaving very similarly. Hardly anyone is doing much eating. There's a couple of bites. And you can cotton on quickly that at the very beginning stages of the dinner, there's an exchange of compliments. So on the decorations, the brocade, is that new? Well, this, you must tell me who provides thy silverware. It is of most amazing quality. Oh, this creme, my compliments to, it's Hugo, isn't it? And so you can see bits and bobs going like that across. And there's, make another insight check, I will say. This will cover the sort of next leg of your observations. Pretty good. Okay, 17 again. It's your number. Okay. The tenor changes, and this is something in one of your times walking through that prompts you to dally a little bit and look and listen, because a look like a cloud of emotion passes over Elle's face before she sort of snaps back to her graceful bearing. And after sort of composing herself, you can read her lips to say, the solstice is a time for reverence and contemplation, and I can assure you that all due preparations for any appropriate business shall be well in hand closer to time. I have much to attend to already with harvest business. And then somebody waits a polite amount of time and then leans in and begins to talk. And you see it's the man with the hawkish features from before, with the black hair and a ponytail. And he says, yes, of course. We would not impose upon you, and it is always as your ladyship decides. We are simply so curious to know whom we are to congratulate, and perhaps make an offer. And then he looks to the woman next to him, and they sort of share a very obviously cheesy kind of fake look and look. And whom to offer to foster as a ward, if your ladyship will have it, for the month or year in question. And then they pause expectantly, and you can see that a handful of the people who were pretending to have conversations while listening around them stop pretending very well, and they're very clearly like leaning a little, like listening a little bit. And Lady Elle nods and smiles and says, I am certain that either Lila or Bramilla shall make an excellent candidate, and I am certain that they are both honored by the prospect of such an offer from you, Steward Garland. I thank you, and I shall consider it justly. And then the conversation kind of moves on at that point.
Was that Lila? Sorry?
Lila.
Was that Lila?
Lila and Bramilla.
Bramilla.
Yeah.
Bramilla.
The two daughters, I'm assuming, from...
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we don't know which one yet.
Yeah. No. But you caught that snippet of the conversation for sure. And I'll say that I gave you quite a lot of like vibe checks, so to speak, because that was insight. If you're looking for more like data, like just getting more lip reading, you can make your perception check, which you would normally do with your observant feat. And you can sort of infer what you will from the raw data of those words.
Sure. So my perception, I'm just looking at the doppelganger sheet, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that's the wisdom modifier.
Mm-hmm.
I think observant applies to passive perception. No.
Right. Yeah, that's true. So then make your perception check. The fact that you are very observant does affect the DC for this roll.
Sure. Because the modifier isn't particularly high.
Right. All right. As the evening wears on, you're watching, and one of the other scriveners moves by you, and seeing you sort of stationary and watching, comes up to you and says, Colin, what are you about? Standing here like glue on parchment. Surely you must be about something important. I could have sworn I had sent you to other business with tomatoes.
Yeah, I did it. Now we're waiting because of the exchanging of cards. We have to be here to write the cards when people want to exchange the cards.
Make a deception check.
Poor Colin.
Mm-hmm.
No one wants him. So, what's our deception modifier?
It's
Plus
your
a lot.
Plus
you've
6,
got
I think.
+6 because you have proficiency with that.
Yeah.
It is what you do.
I'm waiting. Oh, okay. No, I'm not.
Not great. Okay, with a 10.
It's 10.
The Scrivener, says, Colin, your services are not required for the exchange. I appreciate you looking to take initiative. This is something that we spoke about. I do see that. I want you to know that it is clear that you are trying. However, in this case, your efforts are misplaced, and I will need you to return to Hugo, who is in a right state about what will happen with the eclairs. The desserts are nearly due, and of course, the exchange of cards is happening at the same time, and I need you to return to Hugo forthwith. Please, chop chop. Thank you, Colin. Thank you. Thank you.
Eclairs?
Yes.
Where's the message? I don't have a message. What about eclairs?
Yes. Well, of course. You need to and then he digs into his pocket and pulls out some rolled up parchments, sifts through one, says, Yes, well, here is a list of the relevant preferences, including one important allergy. Make sure that Hugo sees it so that the placements are correct. Thank you, Colin. I appreciate this.
Allergies.
And then he turns around and turns on a heel and moves outward towards another one of the Scriveners who has just come up with a big basket full of stationery of various kinds. And he says, no, hold, let me help you with that, and has moved on. What does Sean do?
I go and find Maximilian. Where is he?
Oh,
He's the head steward, yeah?
Maximilian is here, yeah. He is Maximilian is the head steward of Haleford. So you would know that he is like a sort of a big local government official, right? Not of your house.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to go find Hugo, the chef, you could do that. That's sort of where you've been sent, but that wasn't your idea, was it?
I'll go out the door, so that person sees me going in the direction of Hugo. Come back in, and where's Maximilian?
Maximilian is seated near the head of the table, not the very head. In fact, he has been positioned as sort of a consolation prize for those who are not directly next to the Thane, right? He is another very important person, and he is within earshot of the Thane, should he need to be. But he is surrounded by another group of people and seems to be sort of holding forth where he is. And you can see that he is furrowing his brows, sort of having a bit of a go at someone who seems to have just spoken, and is saying, "No, you understand. It is more about what to do with the remnants. If we can recover the remnants, the wreckages you see, then there is something to be gained. Not all lost. Timber. No one thinks about timber. We are all occupied with the loss of gold and goods, of course. But these brigands steal not the ships themselves. They have not yet progressed to that level of villainy. They are always destroying. No sophistication." And then he's sort of watching, apparently listening to someone who the back of their head is to you. If you want to, you can try to get close enough to hear, but otherwise you can just...
With one thing we definitely would have discussed in our preparation or conversation with Oscar, is it like a full chunk of hair that we need, or just hair, like just DNA?
Just a lock of hair, yeah. So...
But like, is it a strand, or is it like, do we need a bunch?
Yeah, just a lock of hair is generally like a little clump of hair with multiple hairs, most likely, I would say. As part of that. What are you thinking of doing?
Okay.
Do it.
Lump that. Okay, so I go up to Maximilian.
Okay.
And I'm looking like super, like full Colin, right?
And so, as I was saying, it's more than 3,000 platinum worth of goods in the last quarter alone. He literally does not notice that you are there until someone else
Correct.
who is next to him on the other side is like, Maximilian, I do believe that this person wants your attention.
I'm so sorry, my lord. I'm a scrivener of the house. I have a message for thee, and I give him the scroll.
Okay. He takes the scroll from your hand, looks at you.
Thank thee, yeah. And I wait. I must wait for a reply. What is thy reply?
You strange boy. Why is it you think I was to receive this? And who from, may I ask?
I don't know who it's from. I'm a messenger. I was given it by another scrivener. It's an urgent message to thee, my lord. What is it wrong?
It seems to be a list of dietary requirements.
I am so sorry, my lord. I've taken the wrong message to the kitchen and given you the wrong one. I'm so sorry, and I'll take it back. I'll get my message back from the kitchen. I'm mixed it. I'm so sorry, and I'll like stumble and kind of like try and like pull a bit of hair.
Okay, two rolls, one of which will affect the score of the other. First is a deception check. It's a well-crafted lie. It's a well-crafted lie. The second is going to be a sleight of hand check. You are trying to pull his hair out. Is that correct?
Just like a piece, yeah. Enough that however much we need from bloody Oscar. Here's the deception. Oh, Colin!
What a journey. 21. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Pretty confident. You're a very confident liar. Seems working. It's time to.
It's our sleight of hand thingy team.
Your dex is +4, so unless you have a feature that gives you proficiency, it'll be +4.
Come on.
This is a big one. Colin. I won't gonna lie. What a journey. Oh, so close to greatness. 17.
It's up there.
Yeah, it's high. That's a high roll. So, Colin, when you lean forward to take the scroll back, you are going to. Did you say you wanted to fall forward?
Kind of bump. Yeah, just kind of.
Yeah.
Muffle it. Yeah.
You execute the physical act of muffling and stumbling, and to slamming into the back of his chair and thus also his back. Your hands going immediately into his hair, which is relatively thin. It's not it's not like a thick crop of hair, and it is relatively short as well, kind of coming back from his purple skin and horns. However, pulling hair hurts. And when you impact and grab a little bit of a fistful of hair, you manage to, with a 17, you get a dexterous grip, so it's not like a fistful. It's like you manage to get a thumb and forefinger and yank down, but his head moves with it. And he very loudly cries out, "Ah! What?" And then you're like stumbling on him. Everyone around him is like,
So sorry.
Pin drop
so
silence.
Sorry.
He turns around.
I'll get that message.
And guards begin to close in on either side, coming close, looking to Maximilian. And he turns down to look at you and says, "Young man, what is your name?"
Colin.
Colin, I will be having a word with your supervisor before I leave.
Oh, absolutely. I will too.
He turns in a sort of very confused and wary state and sort of waves his hand at the guards who have been closing in. And they start to slip slowly back. And he turns to look up at Lady Elle. It seems about to say something to her, but then doesn't. And then conversation sort of picks up back around him as someone tries to awkwardly break the silence that has just been happening.
Very sorry about the message. I'll go and get yours right away. And I bolt.
All right, Sean bolts. Now, at this point, it's time to figure out what Pierce has been up to upstairs. Pierce, you're alone in this room. There's a guard at the door who was ordered by Brutus.
I have a question.
Yes, what's your question?
Is there a world that, knowing we were going into this tonight, that I gave him my cloak?
Your cloak of Elvenkind?
Mm-hmm.
I suppose it depends. Were we running Blades in the Dark again? It could be a great time
planning.
for a flashback.
Can we have said, I'm not a thief, and everyone ignores Colin already anyway?
Okay.
Do one of you two need this?
I do.
Has one,
Yeah.
so Pierce,
So you have not used it up to this point. You can enrobe into it if you would like. It gives you advantage on stealth checks and or disadvantage for people's perception checks to locate you. So if you believe that you would need that, you can
Probably will in about.
Does it require
5 minutes.
attunement? I think if it does, then you will have need to have attuned to it prior, but you've had time to do so. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Colin does not need it.
Yeah. Okay.
So
then
was
that's the case.
stealth.
Advantage.
You have advantage on stealth checks
Advantage.
or
Disadvantage on
disadvantage
perception.
on perception to find you. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Wonderful. All right. I'm going to go. I assume I've kind of I've heard where the office is, so I'm just going to go straight into the office.
Okay.
We'll check for traps.
Okay. So you can make an investigation check. It's a good point of order on the Cloak of Elvenkind. You have advantage on stealth checks made to hide, which is a slight distinction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So sometimes you stealth moving through places. Sometimes you stay
So
still and hide.
for checking for traps, it's just Dex, isn't it?
Yes. Sorry. For traps, you do investigation, which
Investigation.
if you're picking a lock
0.
or you're trying to disarm a trap, then you would use dexterity.
Yeah. Cool.
So it's intelligence based.
Alright, it's just a flat roll.
Okay. The 14. The door to the office does not appear to be trapped. It is, however, locked.
Okay, I'll pick it.
Okay. Make a thieves' tools check, which is your. Unless you have something else that adds to it, then it is your dexterity plus proficiency. If you have something that gives you double proficiency or expertise, then you can add more. But your proficiency is 2, so it'll be a +6 otherwise.
+6. Actually,
Okay.
I think it's 15.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So after some time, you manage to pick the relatively straightforward lock. It is, however, a very finely made one. It takes you a little bit of time to get the bolt to move. And you open the door. Inside, once you've gone through the bedroom, which is quite sumptuous but tasteful in its decorations, somewhat minimal, not a lot of ornate decorations, economical use of space. The office is a different story. It has the feel of a much more personal space. There are several desks that are strewn with papers of various kinds, ink that has on occasion been spilled and blotted and cleaned up. There are the remnants of various crockery when meals seem to have been taken in this room and not quite cleaned up. it doesn't seem to have been tidied or cleaned as much as any of the other places are. Yeah, at this point, if you'd like to have a look around the room, you can make an either a perception or investigation check, depending on the kind of data you want to get.
I'll use perception. Basically, I'm just sensing whether there's any spaces that might be hidey holes or obvious places or less obvious places to hide a safe.
Okay, make a perception check.
Yeah. Okay. Perception. I don't know what to add to that. Is that wisdom?
Unless you're specifically skilled in it.
No.
Okay, a 10. So not great, but the safe itself is not hidden. It is quite readily apparent and appears to be built into the wall, which in this room is rather peculiar because it seems to have been an add-on, if that makes sense. Like it was a part of the other room. So one of the walls is the stone of the exterior wall of the house, and the others are kind of plaster and wood and molding and stuff. So the safe is built into the stone wall. It is very secure.
There's no windows in here at all.
No, it is totally enclosed, and as a result, quite private.
All right, I'm going to check for traps, and then I'm going to try and unlock the safe.
Okay, investigation, and then thieves' tools.
God, that rolls, doesn't it?
18 on investigation. Okay. You very thoroughly look around the edges of the stonework and check the door and the hinges and the handle. And everything seems to be in order until it doesn't. There's something off about the handle. The metalwork of the safe next to it. It seems at first to be a glare, as though sunlight is coming from over your shoulder. And of course, there's no sun. So why on earth could such a thing happen? You only catch it from the corner of your eyes as you move on occasion. But something is present there next to the handle. And with your skill set and experience, you would know that this does have the appearance, at least, of evidence for a magical trap of some sort that might be triggered by using that handle.
So is there another way to open it without using the handle?
You would know that with some things like this, there's a determined trigger for what's going to set it off. And your best bet is to either, you can magically disarm things like this, you can try to trigger them and avoid being affected by them, or, you can try to destroy the safe.
Where's Mage Hand when you need it?
Yeah, right. Ryan plays Arcane Trickster in our other campaign. Right up his alley.
I don't know. How else might I set it off?
You could convince someone to open it.
Yeah. I'm going to go back and get the guard.
Oh, yeah. Old mate from the front?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You go to the door, and as you open it, he sort of you caught him in a weird half-hearted, like he was maybe about to knock and was just reconsidering it. Maybe he's been doing this for a while, and he sort of stands at attention.
Yeah, I pull him in. I close the door. I march him to the safe, and I say, try and open this.
Make a persuasion check.
Yeah, I think I have advantage on that.
Do you have a feat?
Oh no, it's just plus.
In the end.
Yeah, it's the I've got some. It's the adept thing I took.
Yes,
The beguiling present.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So is that I forget what it was though.
Was
I think it was
advantage on
just
deception and
+2. I think it was +2.
yes, you double
to
your
whatever.
proficiency bonus. That's what it
Yeah,
is. So
yeah.
then,
Okay.
yeah. So then your
It's
normal
+4.
proficiency is yeah.
Okay. Oh no.
It's actually probably a little more than +4. So it was a natural 7.
Okay.
And your
Yeah.
this is persuasion, not deception. In
Yeah.
that case, correct. Yeah. So that was a 11 total. Did I get that right?
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Captain, sir, tis
Hmm.
tis most irregular to attempt to even be in her ladyship's quarters.
It is, isn't it? I pull out my rapier.
Oh, Captain.
Try and open this safe, or I will cut you.
Make an intimidation check.
I think that's the same as.
Yeah.
What's that? Charisma.
+2. Yeah. Unless you're proficient. Which...
Yeah. We should be. Should be, depending on. There's just this character I'm playing. Oh, come on, you.
Wow. He sort of like takes a deep breath, sees that you've drawn your rapier,
Oh no.
Before he gets a chance, I'm gonna
draws
cut
his
him.
rapier. Yep.
Nah.
Okay. So
Yeah, I'm
he's
gonna
drawing
hit it,
his
yeah.
rapier. You're gonna try to hit him mid stride. Okay. Make make an attack roll.
Okay.
20
20 plus 6, right?
Yep. $11. All right.
I love you got to find that out before I did.
So this is just a one-on-one. But when you thrust your first attack, you don't have the surprise condition, so you don't have your usual sort of ambush situation, and your rapier glances off the armor, which matches your own, although it's not as yeah. I guess it matches your own because that is what it is. And it thuds into the breastplate, and he, very, very shocked, gets back and like draws his rapier and says, "Captain, I know not what you've done, or what they've done to you." And he's gonna make an attack at you.
We're very easy to hit, aren't we?
Yeah.
Well, you are wearing other armor now. So because your natural armor class is 14, it will be a 15 with the breastplate that you're wearing.
Okay.
That will be a hit, however. And so with his rapier, the d20. He is going to do 6 points of piercing damage to you. But you are going to have to, after stabbing you, he is then going to run past you, which will incur an opportunity attack, but he is clearly attempting to go and raise the alarm.
Yeah, I will try and grapple him.
Okay.
Is that
Yeah,
what I can
you
do
can do
with
that. You can make
opportunity?
You can make an athletics check contested against his athletics or acrobatics.
No, I'm not very strong. Okay, let's say then.
Oh my god.
Oh, what's going on, Matt? Oh,
That's an
Thank
18.
God.
yeah.
I was like,
That was a
what are you
ride.
complaining about? I must have a slight edge on the timing.
Yeah.
Okay. In that case, it's gonna make not a very dexy boy. Oh, so close. Doesn't get out of it. You do manage to grapple him as he runs, and you've got a hold of him, and he's beginning to scream. So he's like,
I'm gonna cover his mouth.
"Alarm!" And so he manages to get a few syllables out like that, and you cover up his mouth. The next action, however, is yours. You do have him grappled up,
Alright.
so he's not able to move.
Yeah. Look, I'm just going to try and cut his neck.
You've got advantage. You have advantage on the attack because he is grappled. So give it a go. And you have multi-attack as well, something I didn't actually take into account last time. I should have. That's my mistake. Okay,
So that's
14 plus 6 is
plus 20.
So your first attack will hit. You can go ahead and roll your next attack roll if you like, since you have a multi-attack.
Okay.
If they both hit, you can roll damage accordingly. Yeah, 17 plus 6 is going to hit, so you're going to hit both. So that's 2d8 plus 8.
Not bad.
That's it. That's it for your buddy. How does Pierce do this?
I'm gonna like slit his throat, but grab his hand and make him hold on to the handle. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Whoa. Okay. You slit his throat, and as his jugular spouts his last lifeblood, and the light fades from his eyes, you pick up his forearm and place it against that handle. And there is a muffled like thump. And the body of this young man is suddenly blown backward as a kind of wave moves through the air as you are ducking to the side. He can't make any kind of saving throw. He is very much dead. As soon as his hand makes contact, however, for a moment, I would say, you actually lose hearing in your ears because this shockwave of force just piffs through the air. And so you have that moment of kind of like, wah, wah, wah. And then there's silence.
All right, I'm gonna try and open this safe.
As that force slammed outwards, the body flew across the room and hit the other side. And there's a flash on the door next to that handle of a kind of sigil of some arcane variety flaring up and then going out. And that was apparently the trap you have triggered.
Okay. There you go.
Okay,
Not very canny. All right, I'm gonna try and open this thing.
Yep, you can make your thieves tools check.
Oh God.
Not great. Not great. Yeah, you can't seem to get it open. You are you have plenty of time, or some time now, it seems. So you're beginning to work the tumblers. And you think you've got 2 of them, and then the third fails. You have to start over. You get the first one, and then you can't get the second one. And every time you try, it seems to thwart your efforts and stands there resolutely in front of you. Unfortunately, you do not seem to be able to open the safe.
And it's actually attached to it's part of the wall.
Yeah,
so
or
it's not like I could like empty take the entire thing.
I mean, like, you put your hand on the handle and like give a bit of a tug. It is firmly in there. Like a very great force might be able to pull something like that off, but it definitely feels beyond a person's pulling capability.
How about a person with like mason tools?
Yeah.
Like to chip away at the sides.
If you had masonry tools, you could take a good while and try to sculpt this thing out of the thing. It would probably take you some time.
Yeah. So I can't just keep trying, can I? Or can I?
Yeah, no. So the way that works is to basically to avoid spamming checks again and again and again. Like that represents your efforts. You're trying multiple different ways, trying different techniques.
Okay.
And you're not able to pick this lock.
So do you reckon if I called one of my friends over, they could have a crack?
Yeah.
Well, that's it.
I mean, yeah, another person can have a go at this if you think that they are
Alright.
able and are able to use thieves' tools and stuff like that, which I would assume either of you are. I think Meg might be letting someone into her house right now.
Yeah. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide this fellow in somewhere in her actual bedroom, not in this area.
Okay. Yeah, you can do that. It's again quite a minimal room, but there's the bed. There is like a sort of standing wardrobe. There's Meg. Welcome back. There's like
I'll
a
put him
standing
in
wardrobe.
the wardrobe then.
Okay. Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah. And I'm going to exit, and down the stairs, I'm going to take the form of a server as I'm coming out.
Okay, so are you leaving your armor behind?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, cool. So then you take the form of a server. And what's your end game? For Meg's benefit, Pierce has attempted to break into the safe but was unsuccessful. Was unable to bring the lock.
I'm going to find one of my compatriots and basically say, "Yeah, I blew it, dudes." Someone else is going to have to get up there because I've blown it. But the door's unlocked and it's ready to go. So all we just need is someone with thieves' tools to get in.
Can you pass off your gloves? You know those gloves that you're wearing that give you proficiency?
Yeah, they give me proficiency. I think you do need to attune to them. But I think they also just give me proficiency in sleight of hand. So is that what I was supposed to be using for?
No. So thieves' tools it's the same. It ends up being same modifiers if you have proficiency, but it's dexterity plus proficiency. So but it is a different. Some people play them as the same, but you can't have proficiency in one without the other. Yeah,
true. Yeah.
So I am roaming the corridor, so maybe you will come across me as I'm walking around.
Yeah, because you were going to go to Hugo, but you didn't actually, right? So you can, knowing the schedules as you do, you can go take the opportunity to check in on Pierce, and you see, unlike before, there is no guard outside of the door. So are you heading in to investigate? You would see.
Basically,
I would have no idea where Pierce is.
You would have no idea. Pierce would have to notice you.
Yeah.
Which you know each other's forms at this point. Pierce, you would see Colin first bumbling his way through the hallways, looking around confusedly.
Did I see?
And we have a safe word
in the corner of the main room.
See what? Sorry.
Daniel, was he still in the corner of the main hall?
Unless Daniel has gotten up to something else in the meantime.
I'm still in the room with all
still watching your handiwork. You can be getting up to something else in the meantime if you want to, Daniel. But it's up to you. So Pierce and Colin, you find each other.
I basically tell Sean everything I need to say. Basically, the room is ready to go. You just need to, and I give him also my bag of holding.
Okay.
Sanctity.
So you've got that.
Well, I shall make the attempt.
Okay. So you've got the thieves' tools, the bag of holding.
Also, if you see Daniel at all, he's in the main hall, so I doubt it. But I have Maximilian's hair.
Oh, good. That's good to know. Thank you.
Okay. So then, Sean, as Colin, make your thieves' tools check.
Great. So the tools checks. What is it?
It's dexterity plus proficiency if you have proficiency. Otherwise, it's just +4.
Yeah, I think so. Cool.
So this is like in real world terms, it's like your expert is throwing their hands up, and you're like, right, I'm hoping for a lucky guy.
First things first, Pierce. Is it trapped?
No, not now.
I thank thee.
When you walk in there, you will see, first of all, blood everywhere.
Oh no!
Oh.
When the 12, unfortunately, in this blood-strewn room, you are likewise unable to have any luck with the safe.
What happened here?
It is very firmly locked, and that's the situation that you find yourself in.
Short of threatening someone to open it for us, what are we gonna do? Yeah, maybe we just have to relinquish that.
You do have a list of objectives that can be partially completed, and you'll be rewarded accordingly.
I wonder if there's no one writes down the code. There wouldn't be a written record of it.
While these guys are in the room, is it too much for me to walk up to Lady Elle and say, Lady Elle, if I may, a thought has occurred to me with this infestation of beetles, and that is perhaps that your most prized possessions, your crown jewels and whatever you might keep locked away, may be being destroyed by these beetles. They appear to have the ability to bite through steel and metal and stone, and I fear for your wealth and your riches. If these beetles are inside your safe.
Make a deception check, Daniel Craigslist. Louis Crouton.
Also, I realized that my modifier is actually a 7 because I get an extra.
Okay.
Come on, please.
Oh! What?
Nat 20.
There it is. On this roll. You know, I made you roll. That means it was possible. 27. Okay.
Get
Here's
out
what
of this,
happens.
Sean.
Here's what happens. Daniel, when you walk up to the Thane and take her attention this way, the faces of the people around her go stony and shocked, like looking to each other briefly, like, what is this person doing? And Lady Elle likewise seems very surprised that you've approached her, and then the content of what you said washes over her and the rest of them. And there is laughter, just uproarious laughter, as the man with the severe features and the black ponytail begins to just outright guffaw, and things begin to calm down, and the lady sitting next to him says, "My Thane, I did not realize you had appointed a new jester. Stone-eating beetles coming for your jewels. What next?
I'm gonna
What
use my hand
next?"
to pull a beetle out of her hair.
Do it. Make your check.
Is that a dex?
Yep, it's +4. You don't have specific proficiency from one of your items or
Yes!
Good lord. As this lady, who's next to the black-haired man, leans forward and says, "What next? What next?" You lean over just then, and just like a kid at a birthday party, just like behind her ear, just like, "What's this?" And you pull it out, and her face just drops. And Lady Elle's face, eyes wide, and says, well, Lady Alessia, it seems that Monsieur Crouton was speaking some truth. Although I am certain that the beetle would not have found any stone in something as refined as your own good head. And there's a titters of other nervous laughter nearby, and then bigger laughter as they permit themselves to laugh at her joke. And Lady Alessia is like, I must away a moment. And then she stands up and curtsies, and they all bow, and people are looking away embarrassing, and she's going away and immediately putting hands to her hair and swatting at one of her servants who comes nearby in an attempt to help. But then eyes turn once more to you, Monsieur Crouton, and say, tell me, the man with the ponytail says, are you in earnestness that these beetles, which seem to have manifested in my wife's hair and in our thanes, you mean to say that they are devouring stone and metal? What sort of creatures are these? Please tell me one of these charming tales.
These beetles are called the Masonite Beetles, and they were likely placed in the castle by enemies of Lady Elle's. They wish to see her in ruins. They wish to see her legacy crumble around her. And these beetles are the perfect way to do it without being detected. It is no laughing matter, I can assure you. And if one thing is true, they love the taste of the wealthy, because the wealthy are the ones that have the most delicate stones.
When you're finishing, you hear a heavy footstep from behind. And sometime after you finish that bit of speech, Brutus appears at Lady Elle's shoulder, and leans forward and says, "My lady, if Monsieur Crouton has been discoursing on the subject of beetles, I'm afraid to say I must lend credence to his report. I did find one of the fell beasts, I am ashamed to say, not once, but twice, in mine own locks. And I have for this time been very painstakingly been combing through my remaining hair." And you see he turns to the side and there is like a clean shorn space behind his ear where hair has been cut off. It says, "I have had no success in finding more of the beasts, but I can assure you they are very real and quite crafty."
Oh my god.
The mood at the table shifts. Brutus coming forward and speaking has everyone sort of looking left and right, and a few people are checking their hair and looking into their bags, and titters are moving down the table further. There is a pause in conversation while this is happening. Lady Elle turns to look at you, Louis, qua Daniel, qua Elizabeth, says, "Do you believe, Monsieur Crouton, that this is something we should take action on?"
Oh yes. I do fear that perhaps these beetles were put here on this very night to bring you shame. And I would, again, advise you to check on your most beloved and prized possessions that you've kept locked away, because I do fear for their safety.
Brutus stands tall and says, "My Thane, if you will permit me the honor of securing those things that you hold most dear, it would be my privilege. I shall oversee it personally." And then Lady Elle says, "Very well, Captain. Please, take some of your men and take special care. I know not what to expect from whatever this is to be that is befalling us." And they share a look for a bit of a moment. And then he salutes, bows, and then strides away, resolutely towards the east stairs. Now then, at some point, while all this was transpiring, Sean, you've determined as Colin, you're unable to break into this safe. Pierce, having sent Colin that way, what are you getting up to?
Did I see any of that transpire?
Depends on what you would have done after you did you just leave
I
Colin
would
to
have-
his devices? Sean, Colin?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Colin did tell you that Daniel was in the main room, so if you see him, etc., etc. So.
Oh yeah. So I've gone to find Daniel.
You would get in there. Here's what I'm going to need you to do. Are you going to the main room?
Yeah.
Okay. Make
as a server, remember?
That's right. That's right. In that case, ignore that trepidatious tone I just took with you. As your server, you are going to see rounding a corner of the stairs up the east wing is Brutus in his full regalia coming up the stairs, and he seems to have called at least 2 other guards with him from the base of the stairs.
Is one Sloven?
No, one of them is not Sloven at this point. It's another group who were a buddy group together, and they're coming up the stairs towards you, looking kind of beyond you deeper into the wing. What do you do?
It's at this point that I wish that I had have asked to have a sending stone instead of these gloves. Oh, look, I'm sure Colin will be fine.
All right.
I'm gonna go to the kitchen. Get in the glass.
Pierce, as the server, is going in to the kitchen while this is heading on. Colin, what is Sean Colin doing in the blood-bestrewn room with the unopenable safe?
Now, as soon as I failed at the safe, I would have gone out. I'm glancing around the room as I'm leaving. Sorry, I'm glancing around the room as I'm leaving. That if there are portraits of ships or mementos from any kind of, like, does she have any kind of mementos from journeys she's taken?
In the office?
Or bedroom. Like, I'm going from the office to the bedroom, out in the corridor.
Okay. Yeah, actually.
Great.
I would say there's something you're going to just notice, that you are particularly observant, after all. I still would like for you to make an investigation check for your time in the office, because it is a much more untidy space.
Yes.
You're going to notice something in that bedroom when you come through, though.
It is investigation. 19.
Okay. Strewn amongst the papers on the desk, there are a number that are kind of mundane ledgers and records of transactions, some basic correspondence between other members of her family about mostly mundane things, social events, dates, negotiations, things like that. But you manage to open one of the top drawers, which clattering around amongst all the different like writing supplies and trinkets and bits and bobs, there is a locket. And that locket doesn't require a key or anything. It's just a simple mechanical mechanism that pops open an image, and inside is a painted miniature, which is very much of the fashion. And that miniature is a landscape painting, very small, smaller than like a pocket watch size, and it is a swelling, stormy sea, and very darkly rendered, and the black, cloudy sky with gray clouds being split by forks of lightning, and the lightning is illuminating the silhouette of a ship. At the top, the crest of one of these waves, and the details of it are very difficult to make out because it's so small. As you're walking out of the office, looking at this very small image,
I don't think I would have taken it with me.
Ah, okay. In that case, if you leave it behind, bearing that image in mind, you suddenly see the very same image on the wall, reproduced, much larger. It is a painting in stark black and white, almost like it was once an etching, but is painted to be this style. But as a result of this, it's much less muddled, and the details are much more crisp. You can get up close and see that.
I don't think I need to do that. I can see it from here.
Well, this is a. Oh, that's right. You have a particular items to help you do that. But with your eagle eyes, you can see that ship has a name. It is the Mirthwind.
Noted.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just do something? I want to take opportunity of Brutus being gone, but before he realizes that there's a dead person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna like quickly disappear out of the room and then come back as Brutus.
Okay, so you can absolutely do that. You will be still dressed as Louis unless you make some efforts to the contrary. I'm saying this is the thing that you would know very frequently as a doppelganger you have to deal with. So it's up to you how you want to negotiate that.
So when you change doppelganger, your clothes don't change.
Your body changes, yeah. As far as I'm aware, unless there's a feature that says otherwise on here, it can use its action to polymorph into a smaller medium humanoid it is seen or back into its true form.
I thought it does include.
Oh, actually, I'm mistaken. Any equipment it is wearing or carrying isn't transformed. No, I wasn't mistaken.
Oh.
Sorry. So any equipment it is wearing or carrying is not transformed. So yeah, it's like lycanthropes in that like you change, but the stuff you're wearing and stuff you're holding stays the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, wearing is an issue.
I'm kind of just gonna like strip off the robe that I was wearing, just kind of come out in like my, I guess like just the pants that I was wearing underneath and like just the plain white shirt. Oh God, is this a good idea?
And who knows?
I don't actually think it gets us closer to our mission.
Look, I didn't think you collecting beetles outside got you closer to your mission either, but here we are.
Okay, I'm gonna walk up to Lady Elle.
Okay, you do so.
As soon as I saw the Mirthwind, by the way, I've gone out into the corridor.
You're gone. And in short order, Colin, you will walk past the imposing figure of Brutus, who's gathering ever more guards to him, walking towards that direction. But
I go like this as they're going past me, but no one even.
Yes, they don't seem to regard you at all.
Sorry,
Colin.
Elizabeth. Carry on.
Colin, what were you? What's Daniel doing?
I am going to I think I'm going to try and announce to the room that there is an emergency because there's a beetle infestation and everybody needs to get out ASAP. I want to cause chaos.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I want to do.
Okay. So you're gonna start screaming out to the room, just those exact words.
Yeah.
Beetles!
Okay.
Run for your lives.
Make a deception check with advantage, and we'll see how you go.
Oh God damn it.
You do have a great modifier. So that's a 15. So what that translates to, you come running through with all the appearance of fear and outrage and shouting these things. There is a pause, and then Lady Elle stands and looks to you, fear in her eyes. Guards begin to step forward, and then the people at the front of the table where Lady Elle was, who were having that chat with you, immediately stand up and start bolting for the door. Like they're moving, and they're like summoning their servants and personal guards who have come with them. And then suddenly there is chaos. As soon as they start moving, it's clear to people that like, uh-oh, like they've taken this seriously. We better do the same. People start following suit. They're getting up. Some people are coming up towards Lady Elle and trying to say things to her. And she has eyes only for you. And she is beelining straight for you as Brutus. And as the chaos is beginning to reign around, she comes to you and says, Captain Brutus, what has transpired? Where is your armor? What has happened?
My lady, the beetles ate my armor. I must take you to safety. You must come with me now.
Oh my God!
Oh, all right. What? Is it safe? What? And she begins to walk with you. Where are you taking her?
I kind of lead her. Everyone's running in one direction, and I kind of sneak her off down this hallway and into a room, and I close the door.
The girls, Brutus. Lila and Ramilla, are they safe?
They are safe. I must know. Because I need to know who to protect the most. Are you going to announce one of them as your heir?
I want both of my daughters to be protected. Brutus, Are they in danger? Is one of them in danger? Are you not telling me? What is this?
I know that protecting your bloodline is essential to you right now, so I need you to be brave and tell me, are you going to announce which of your daughters is going to be the heir soon? It is of vital importance for the guards to know which daughter to protect the most, as she will be the next thing.
Daniel. Several emotions pass over Lady Elle's face. And you feel a familiar tug at your senses. The strange, erratic sensations of confusion and frustration and fear. Hot, cold, hot, cold. When you say your bloodline, that deep, cold core fear emerges again. And you hear a name, just whispered. Butler. And then you hear a different voice. A voice that is not Elle's voice. You realize as you hear it, you've heard it all along, but it's been in perfect time with Elle's. Subtle, hard to hear, like someone else singing in a choir at the same time, at the same pitch. And until one of them's just a little off, you never know that there's two of them. But it is a different voice. And when you hear it, you can't believe you couldn't discern it before. That voice, much deeper, fuller, more resonant when you do clock it, whispers, Beta. And then the heat and cold return and back and forth, and there is confusion and fear and indecision. And she says to you, Brutus, it is not important right now. What is important is that both of my daughters is safe. I love them both. It does not matter which of them is my heir. Take me to them, or prove to me that they are safe.
I will take you to them. I just need to tell you one more thing.
What is it, Brutus?
I love you. And I kiss her on the lips.
In front of everyone.
No,
they're closed off in a room right now.
Sorry. We're still in the hall.
If you, as you lean in for a kiss, as you lean in, she hesitates for a moment, and then she leans in and kisses you back.
Ooh la la.
Hey. Okay, and then I'm going to say,
Sing, Monsieur Crouton.
now, if you will excuse me, Lady Elle, I must go and protect your bloodline. And then I open the door and I run away.
So you're leaving her there?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Now, we are at a point of pandemonium. The house is moving. Brutus and the guards are converging on the blood-strewn door. What are the three of you doing?
I'm eating an eclair.
That's right.
At this point. I've clocked off. I'm like, well, you win some, you lose some, don't you?
Yeah.
I've gone straight back
poor
to
old,
our find point of where we assemble
your
when
rendezvous
we
point.
We don't know what each other look like, so I just go there.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll very clearly make out a very unassuming server stuffing his face with an eclair at the rendezvous point.
her face.
Perfect. Beg your pardon.
Yeah. I'll also say, like, geez, it sucks to be Bjorn right now.
I look like
Just
Colin, and the other two presumably know that I look like Colin currently. I haven't changed that.
You would recognize Colin coming up. And then, Daniel,
So-
are you making your exit as well at this point? Okay. In that case, the three of you can rendezvous there. And you'll notice that there seem to be a number of people leaving. Some carriages have taken off, others have congregated at the front of the establishment, and people are very in vain trying to establish order. With Brutus not there and Lady Elle hidden, there seems to be a bit of a kitchen without a chef situation, and various people are.
Where's Hugo going?
Well, Hugo is in the actual kitchen,
Oh,
trying to figure out why all these eclairs have gone missing, probably. And then you can make your way away, and as a result, tally your successes, such as they are. Let's have a look.
Yes. That looks like a good eclair.
At your objectives. Now, your mission, goal number 1, was to break into the safe. That was not accomplished, unfortunately. You had some other sub-objectives, however. You wanted to learn 3 facts about Lady Elle. The first of which, in fact, let's play this out. We have enough time for a brief closing scene, I think. Some time passes. Late at night, you manage to make your way back to Haleford, moving along the roads in relative obscurity. And you go to a place that you know, a secret rendezvous point. There is a theater in Haleford called the Red Swan. And the Red Swan has a distinctive logo out the front of a creature by that name in full flight, with a sunset behind over an ocean. Around the side of the Red Swan, there is a door that is unlocked, although the rest of it is locked tightly. And you know that it is a door, but most would not. Most would see a plain stone wall. But you go to the appointed place, and 4 stones up from the ground, 3 over from the windowsill, you place your hand, and it moves through the stone, as though it is not there. And there is a knob there. You turn and open, and take the stairs downward into a basement level, knocking on the door and waiting. And then a few moments later, there is a portrait on the wall next to you. A very distinguished looking humanoid man. Shock of silvery white hair tied back into a neat ponytail. And the portrait's face turns and looks to you and says, "Excellent. Please, enter." And the door in front of you shimmers and becomes instead a red velvet curtain that is gently parted in the center and separated by golden brocaded rope. Through the doorway, there is a very fine interior. Deep, soft, luxurious carpets with fine patterns woven into them covering the floor. There are portraits all over the wall, very beautiful and strange subject matters. Creatures with names you wouldn't know. Various humanoids of various descriptions in graceful poses, posed around water, dryads and satyrs and nymphs, as well as people at sumptuous dinner parties laughing and pointing. There's hangings from the roof of reds and deep purples. And in the center of this room, with several gently hovering orbs of light moving around him, is the familiar figure of Oscar, who is sitting at a table, and is gently running his hands over a deck of cards, which he has been laying outward flat and then flipping back over and then reshuffling again into his hand absentmindedly. I believe congratulations are in order. You seem to have survived.
So Sean drops Colin like a hot stone and shifts back to just the normal dapper looking older gent that he actually prefers to look at when he's just wandering around the street. Oscar, good Ian. I believe we have some success to report to thee. For my own part, I have Maximilian's hair to add to the kitty.
Excellent. He sort of like he waves a hand, and a roll of crushed velvet unrolls in front of him, and he sort of gestures towards it for you to place the hair there.
Did we also, friends, have other hair success? And I put my Maximilian's hair down.
Well, you all told me not to do it, but the beetles worked.
Ah, Daniel, congratulations.
I pull out 2 handfuls of hair and I put them in the red velvet.
One for Lady Elle, and one for Brutus.
Sensational.
Indeed. I suppose this shall produce some sensation of a kind. You have my thanks and shall be justly rewarded. Now, there are some more rather interesting goals I have set for thee. Did you have commensurate success?
I turn to Pierce and I just go, sorry, friend. Safe. No good.
Well, yeah, some people think that my handsomeness made me an ideal candidate for this job, but unfortunately, not so much.
No.
But we did find out some information, did we not, Daniel?
Yes, I believe we did gather the intel that you had requested.
Please, enlighten us. As he says that, he leans back into his chair, taking the cards into his hands, and you hear the gentle flap of wings as a large scarlet raven lands on his shoulder in an extra pad jacket that he wears for the purpose. And the raven turns its head sideways so that its vibrant purple and red eyes are looking out towards you, watching you intently.
Nice bird, by the way. We do believe that Lady Elle intends to declare her heir to the throne to be her daughter Lila. And as for her greatest fear, there was a lot of fear surrounding her bloodline and protecting her legacy and ensuring that her children, making sure her children aren't killed.
Also,
both of her children.
Yes. She has. Well, why? Is there a third?
Perhaps you should tell me. It is well known that the House of Donvale has 2 daughters, Lila and Bramilla. Why do you mention a third?
Well, sir, I did hear, when I was questioning her about her children, I did intrude upon her thoughts and hear her mention the name Vela.
Thank you. That is very interesting to know.
The
I
last
believe
tidbit of
that the-
information I saw a particularly fine portrait of a ship in her chambers. The ship itself known as the Mirthwind.
Is
This
that,
amuses thee, Oscar?
many things amuse me. Mr. Conartistry.
Also me.
Now, I can see that you have been, in large part, successful in what I have asked you to do. Although it is unfortunate that the principal target was unsuccessful.
Yes, unfortunate is the word.
Yes.
It was
Fair.
through no lacking of trying, I can assure you. The carpets
Please.
were blood-soaked by the end of it. Blood, sweat, and tears. We were all over the place.
Way. That's how it is.
You shall be rewarded as you were promised. I am a creature of my word. So, and he waves his hand and lays out several cards on the table. He does a sequence of gestures over each card. One card is in front of each of you. You three are very interesting. Some discourse with creatures of your kind I have had in past. The stories I'm sure you could tell. He reaches for one of the cards, flips it over, and then picks it up again, and does the same for each of the three cards. And when he picks up each card, where the card used to be is a stack of 5 platinum pieces. Or, excuse me, 50 platinum pieces, 500 gold per lock of hair was the promised reward. He then redeals his cards. And I believe the information you have provided is good, corroborated as it has been in part by other of mine operatives. It is a great service to me to have these things confirmed. He likewise deals the same amount of money from each card. It is an unfortunate thing. I would rather have liked to see what you would have done with what you would have received in exchange for the safe. You have proven yourselves useful. Do visit my associate to collect the rest of your reward as you leave. And you know that you were promised a magical item of uncommon rarity as a result of completing that tier of your mission. Would have received a rare item each had you gotten through that safe. But alas and alack. Well then, the morning is young, and early bird and all that. I'm afraid I must retire. I shall be in contact with you when your services are again required, perhaps for something completely commensurate with your skills next time. Until then, it has been my pleasure. Here's Daniel, Sean.
I want to try and sleight of hand his bird.
You want to take his bird?
Well,
So,
I'm
like,
distracted.
I thought you were gonna put a
to
beetle in
come
his
off of
hair.
his shoulder, or are you going to literally try to grab this bird
It's our pleasure too.
Actually, no, I think I'm just going to try and pull a beetle out of his hair.
out of his hair?
Yeah.
Daniel, you don't have to roll. When you reach out your hand to try to pull this trick, Your hand goes straight through his head.
It's not even there.
It isn't there. And Oscar smiles. Says, now. No use giving everything away right away. Right away. Right away.
Right away. Right away.
The room fades from your sight. All the sumptuous hangings, all of the paintings, all of the everything but a table where his table actually was and where those cards were sitting. There's a faint call
Platinum?
of a raven outside. You've collected your platinum.
Okay, cool.
You can check your purse, it's very real. But all around you is nothing but an empty, dirty, dungy, grungy basement. A couple of old barrels, some straw. Doesn't smell great. Oscar and all evidence of his presence there are gone.
Well, we need to see his associate.
And so you will. And that, I think, is where we can leave it for tonight. Our three doppelgangers will make their way to get their just reward for their mischief. Thank you so much to the three of you for doing this little extra bit of adventure and for giving me the chance to add this little bit of lore to our world. I'm very excited. Thank you to any of you who tuned in to the stream here live with us. We appreciate it very much. Thank you to Eric Matthias for supplying the excellent music, which I've got playing for you in the background here. Some really, really cool intrigue and spy tracks that I found useful for tonight. If you're joining us later on the video on demand on YouTube, thank you for that. Please do like and subscribe to our channel and feel free to share with any who you think might be interested. We are here every Sunday night at 7:30. And you can catch our other two campaigns, the Magical Cane Band and the Headless Marys, at this time slot, alternating weeks. Until then, I've been Adam, your DM. Thank you very much. I'll close, as we always do, by echoing the bard and saying, thanks, and more thanks. Good night.